what got you going? Because you were killing it back in Ohio, obviously. So you were, nice in high school. But what got you started in track?
Basketball. I played basketball since like the 4th grade. And when I moved to Euclid in the 9th grade, I played, it was tryouts for basketball team. It was this girl named Heather, and she was the state runner up in the 400. And no lie, they used to just like lob her the ball for the fast breaks because she was so fast. Yes. And she was a senior, I was a freshman. And they were like, oh, you freshman, you check Heather or whatever. And they were like, wow, you're keeping up and down the court with Heather. Maybe you should run track. And so the basketball coach had me go out for track. And I mean, it was kind of crazy. I tried the 100. I always tell people I started in like lane 2 or 3 and ended in lane 8. So that was mad. They was mad. Like, what are you doing? Then they had me do the 800. And I went through the line and it was like, nah, you got another one. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And then I did the 400 the next day. And my coach said I ran same arm, same leg. And I ran 64, like hand time.
Same arm, same leg.
Okay. So a little uncoordinated at the time.
Yeah, very much so. And they were like, maybe, you should come out for the track team. And so I did. I hated it.
Oh, wait, you said 64. So what grade was this?
The 9th grade.
Okay, so 9th grade, 64. Yeah, all right, got you.
Running it. I was asking them, like, why do y'all do this to yourself? Like, this is not like basketball. Like, there's a goal in mind. What is the goal here? Because training was crazy. And my time slowly dropped. I pretty much followed Heather all year, kept getting second behind Heather. And then the district meet, I finally won. And I ran like 56 or something like that. By the time
you started to drop it a little bit.
Yeah, I ran 55, I think, at the regionals. And then I ended up winning the state meet by like this much my freshman year. So then they were like,
wait, hold on. This is all, you won state's freshman year? That's kind of fast to go from like, I started out 64 as a freshman. Oh yeah, and I won state's freshman year.
I ran 55. So, I was just like, quick, man, this is
like a 10-second drop.
I mean, I never did it. So I was like, this is crazy. Y'all are crazy. And so got into it, went out again. And I would say probably around my sophomore year is when I really got to experience track. I went to Nike Outdoor Nash. I won state my sophomore year. I ran 53.5. And I went to Nike Outdoor Nationals. I got 3rd. And I ran 52.93, which would have shattered the state record. And I went to my coach. I was like, how come I didn't win? He was like, what do you mean? I was like, I ran my best and I didn't win. He was like, that's not how track works. And, he was laughing and I was like, I want to come back next year and win. And so, I worked really, really hard. And, like my junior year, I ran like 51.9 to win junior nationals. I did come back and win. I ran like 52.08. I was like, oh my gosh, I finally won. And I gave up basketball my junior year too. So that's the year I really.
So you were still playing ball?
Yeah, my sophomore year. My junior year I had to choose because they're like, you need to do indoor track. And so I ended up, giving it up. And I never forget the men's basketball coach was like, this is the biggest mistake of your life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could have went to UConn. Like, I'm just thinking hoop dreams and it ended up working out for me as far as tracking. So yeah.
I'd say so.
Yeah.
Your senior year.
My senior year, I won state. I won the Golden West Invitational. That year it was crazy. Like I ran 51.6. Second place was like 52.5. It was like 52.9, 53. I mean, that race was super fast. No, I was running for my life.
Man, you were like a second ahead. You just said.
I was let me tell you, I was like throwing up before the race. And like, my friend, her name's Michonne Graham. She ran for Toledo, and she was like, Toledo Bowser. She was like, look, I need you to be your best. So you need to pull it together. And I was like, okay, yelling at me. I got to throw up. And so, just knowing that like my competitors, like, I want you to be at your best because, basically, I don't want to say she meant it like this. That's just how I took it. Like, I want to be able to win and say I beat you at your best. Like, and so I was just like, dang, we serious out here because
serious.
I used to run the 4x8. So we actually won states in the 4x8 my sophomore year. We ran 906 and I split like 210. And then my senior year, we lost by this much. I was running for my life. Emily Enfield, shout out to her. she was behind me and I didn't want her to walk me down. And we ran like 9:10 and I split 2:06. And so I was just like, man, why y'all do this? Because I thought the 4 was bad, but that 8.
That
Yeah,
800.
it's real. But y'all like anime characters, like I want to defeat you at your best. Like y'all like Dragon Ball Z out there. Like I like it though. That's kind of intense.
Yes. I'm like, okay, well, let's get to it. Let's get to it. So it was a good experience for sure. I mean, to win state all 4 years. I know Tiana Bartoletta did it in like the long jump and in the 100.
Yeah.
She did it like before me. And I used to hear stories about her doing push-ups before the 100, and she intimidated everybody. She used to do like push-ups. I was like, man, I missed all the good stuff. Ted Jr. used to run, at the state meet, and just watching them do great things. I was like, dang, I'm trying to be in good company. So I had a lot of motivation, either from hearing about it or seeing it firsthand. So
yeah. And what made you choose Texas A&M?
Believe it or not, the school I wanted to choose, I always tell, I try to be as honest as possible. Like the coach never answered the phone.
What school?
Well, the coach, they not there no more. So I wanted to be a Tennessee Vol. Coach Carroll was there. And so I had already made my decision. I had only visited 4 schools. I wanted to go there. I went to call her. She didn't answer the phone. I told my dad, like, hey, I can't get in contact with Coach Carroll. He was like, you need to talk to her yourself. I'm like, huh? And so I'm like, look, it's day like 3. She ain't picking up. And I found out that she was leaving, but I guess, you're not allowed to tell that to recruits.
Shoot.
So
no.
I had to open my visits back up, and A&M was actually my last visit. I always tell athletes, like, it was the most boring visit. Like, I went during a time when nobody, it was no football, it wasn't a lot of riffraff, but I love that Coach Anderson was like, what you see is what you get. And I'm like, okay, all right. And, I had heard different things. My last 2 choices, didn't even know they were a big rival, was Texas and Texas A&M. And when you look at what was done at the time as far as like national champions times ran, it seemed kind of like a no-brainer, like go to Texas, like Sonya Richards-Ross, Raisin McIntosh, Mushami, like go to Texas. And so for me, I really had to make like a pros and cons list, and I didn't really like my visit, but I really liked Coach Bev. And a lot of people was like, don't just go to a school just because you like the coach, because you're going to have to live there as an athlete. Mm-hmm. And so when I really made my list, I did like Coach Anderson. Outside of not having fun on my visit, education was really important to me. And so, and I saw that they had at least, I'm telling you, when I told people Texas A&M, when I was coming up, they used to be like, oh, the Longhorns. I'm like, no, that's the Aggies. And so, I remember just kind of calling Coach Anderson to tell him that I was coming. And I really appreciated that my host was like, what do you want to do? And I told her what I wanted to do. And she was like, you're going to be successful wherever you go. And I don't feel like that was a message that I got from a lot of different schools. It was kind of like, you're going to be successful if you go here. You're going to experience success if you're a part of our program. And so even though they hadn't won they never won conference before I think they won my senior year. They won their first conference title. And all I needed was one person. Clora Williams had like upset the field and won nationals. And I was like, that's all I need to see. Clearly it works. I know I'm gonna be working. It don't need to be 1,000 people, 105 doing it. I just needed to see one. And, I realized sometimes you might not see one, but if your coach got a vision, then, and you believe in that, then you could be that one that sets the bar. And so I was like, well, one did it. Why can't I be another one to do it? And so I ended up choosing A&M, and, the rest is history. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't let, my visit being boring.